Welcome back to Boom and Bust. Our monthly guest is Tom Caldwell. He is chairman of Caldwell Securities Ltd in Toronto. Tom, just returning to tariffs just for a second. Obviously, President Trump has been very busy. There's some sort of tariff deal with Japan, South Korea, the European Union. Yet Canada doesn't have a deal. We've gone past the deadline now. Is this something to be worried about?
Well, the definitive answer to that is I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
please. I'm trying to give Mr. Carney the benefit of the doubt. I hope what he's doing is running around town or the country, trying to get these anti-provincial barriers knocked down as best he can. Get some trade going within Canada and see what kind of markets we have when we have a truly self-sustaining economy, or try to be self-sustaining, dealing within Canada. How much steel can we absorb ourselves when we
Right.
cut off external steels? So I think that sort of thing is going on. And then what he's left with is what do we need to do with the states? That gives you a platform negotiating tariffs. I hope that's what he's doing. It might be just indecision. It might be that Trump is so incensed that he hasn't played the game.
Right.
There's so much personality in here. It's hard to judge it.
It is. And we, of course, we don't have the inside track. You nor I have the inside track on what is actually being said by Lutnick or the trade negotiators in the United States behind closed doors to Canada. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. But but you're right. There's certainly a lot to concentrate on in Canada. You mentioned interprovincial barriers. We've talked on this show already previously about getting big projects built in this country, critical minerals, pipelines, those kinds of things. Do you see any progress on those fronts at this point?
Not really. The Indigenous are now protesting up at the Ring of Fire. But let me say this. These big projects don't really impact the overall economy, unless you happen to be a welder. Pipelines and whatever. These are good projects. Politicians love these. Look at this thing that we've made happen. But what it does telegraph is Canada a place that you as an international company want to be invested in? And so far, the answer there has been a resounding no, because you can't get stuff done. I mean, the Ring of Fire is 25, 30 years. LNG plants, 25, 30 years. Years and years. You can't get stuff done. So internationally, we are not seen as a destination. So I see these bigger projects not as things in and of themselves, but what they telegraph to international investors and mining. Like BHP built a monster company, just walked away from the Ring of Fire. He said, no, this is insane. And that was years ago. And so that's a very important thing. But to really get the economy going, you have to start at grassroots. And we have to have reduced taxes. We have to have reduced regulations. In short, governments have got to get the heck out of the way. And we've topped out with our, and we don't need one more government program for anything.
Right.
Just stop it. Just get out of the way and get the cost of government down. And that means regulation as well. So that's the real issue at hand. Nobody's speaking to that yet. That's domestic. But big projects, what do they telegraph internationally?
Well, I think you raised a couple of good points there. And in terms of domestic fiscal policy, that is the policy of government spending, the trend lines are going the opposite direction. Right now, the Carney government is on track to be spending more than the previous Trudeau government. But there have been intimations that Prime Minister Carney does want to reset that. But what's your take on it all?
Well, first off, we don't have a policy on spending other than just go spend whatever you want. Yeah. Having the perspective of a very long history, I look at the generation ahead of mine, lived through a depression, fought a world war, built all the infrastructure of this country, the highways, the airports, and passed it on to my generation relatively debt-free. We paid down the victory loans. Remember, defense during the war was 30% plus of your budget. So really, there was a term of fiscal responsibility. We've gone beyond that for so many years, beginning with Trudeau the first. So I don't know that we've really come back to some solvency. And all that says to me is that inflation will be a permanent fact of life, because there's only a couple of ways governments deal with inflation or with debts. Pay it down, increase taxes, economic growth or inflate it out of existence. And the last one is always the easiest.
Yeah, no, and inflation is here. There's no question about it. Tom, we're going to take another brief break for our sponsors. Appreciate you being on the program. We'll be back with you in just a few moments. Please stand by.